Paulette, and welcome Aram.
Hi, how you
Hello.
doing?
Woo-hoo. Welcome. Happy Wednesday. Thank you, everybody who is joining us today. We're so excited. So, who am I? My name is Martha. I'm the founder of Connect Impact Hub, where our mission is to end homelessness. I'm going to pass the mic over to Ali, Paulette, and then Aram for introductions. Please take over.
So, my name is Oli. I'm in Brussels, Belgium. I am passionate about language and I'm happy to support Marsha and to be with Marsha, Paulette, and Aram this evening. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'm Paulette Hallam. Gone through the corporate world, then retired. Due to my son's autism, I retrained as a counsellor for autism specifically. Got him into a much better place to where he was, which was as bad as it could get. And then, with all my knowledge and all the exams and everything I'd passed, decided to become a children's counsellor, therapist, and then thought, do you know what? I can't reach all the children in the world, so I need to write books. So here I am as an author of self-help books for children, and they're specifically with a child who hasn't worked out that they need to use their inner voice, their gut, to know what's right from wrong. So they get that inner voice, listening to their own words. That's me.
Thank you. You have
And I'm
Amaya.
Aram,
Go ahead
and
and
I'm
pronounce
Aram
it.
Wheatley. I'm Aram Wheatley, the CEO and the founder of Project Build, Southwest Florida, here in Naples, Florida. We mentor youth in foster care and life skills and help them with employable curriculums and help them find jobs and things like that in the area. And Paulette, we would definitely love some of your self-help books over here at Project Build as well.
Well, I'll sort that one out for sure.
Woohoo! Go ahead, Paulette. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, no, no. Well, I was enjoying the whoops. No, we definitely we were number one in America, number one in Australia, and 9 times UK number one on Friday. So it must have some real value to it, because as much as I believe in it, it's so nice to have all our friends and family, and as well as that, educationalists, therapists, people telling us it really is going to help. It's going in all the comfort cases in the UK for children in care. So when children get put into the care system, they get given a comfort case, and in that case will be a book that says new home. So it'll help them adjust. It's that the gap, bridging the gap between one place, transitioning. It's so scary, so frightening for adults to transition, and children find it 10 times harder, 100 times harder. So the book is all there to try and bridge that gap. So you have got some coming your way. I'll make sure 100, sir, are coming your way.
Thank you, thank you.
You're
We really
welcome.
appreciate that.
Thank you, Paulette. So we are here for some really big reasons. And Jane, thank you so much for showing us love. We're going to be talking about our youth and our wonderful speaker today, Aram. Aram. I
Aram,
always
Aram.
hey,
Aram.
I'll get it down. I'm so sorry. But we're going to have these wonderful conversations today. So please, if you're connecting with us, please share. There will be replays as well. Please leave your comments and questions that you may have. And please connect if we haven't connected with all of us here. So with that, go ahead and let's talk about Project Build. So how did Project Build come about?
Project Build came about, I would say, we've been in business for 4 years, so I would say it came about maybe actually 5 years ago as the initial thought process. One of my buddies, he's deceased now. He died of cancer. Um, we we were actually working with youth in Bradenton, which is Bradenton, Florida, Manatee County, and we were getting some youth ready for a challenge event that we had at a company that we worked for called AMIKIDS. And in that challenge event, we would teach the youth physical events like volleyball, track and field, swimming, rope tying. You know, because every we would have quiz bowls. You know, every kid can't perform athletically, so they had things for the kids to perform academically and not time things like that. But anyway, so in the midst of getting these kids ready for this challenge event, we would keep them after school. Had to keep them engaged, and it would be a part of being a coach like at any other football team or basketball team. My team that I identified, they can't get in trouble. If they get in trouble, they're off the team, and then we might lose the challenge event. And I'm very competitive, so I figured I would take all my kids after school, and I would take them to LA Fitness, and I would keep them till about 11 o'clock at night, and I'd feed them dinner, and I work them out, and train the heck out of them. Then when they get home, all they can do is go to sleep, so they can't get in trouble. It may be like 6 or 7 hours. Um, that they had, and most of that was going to be sleep. And then they see me first thing in the morning. So that's how we got them to the challenge event, and that's how we were able to win. But in doing that, figured out pretty much an after school program and how to keep the kids engaged. So we started thinking, hey man, we might want to do some other things other than what we were actually doing with AMI Kids, and AMI Kids have taught us so much. And that's how we started thinking of doing things, you know, in the community with the youth on our own outside of AMI Kids, and that's how that started.
Okay. Wow. So 4 years ago. So who do you work with? What is your population of youth that you work with?
So our youth are at risk, homeless youth and young adults um, in the Southwest Florida area.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
What age is that then, Aram?
We work with anywhere from 6 years old to about 24 years old. Now they don't engage, but our services stream from those age ranges. Yeah.
That's amazing. And
And
you've got a different program for the younger ones to the older ones, or does it pretty much?
yeah, so we use a curriculum called Arise. It's an evidence-based curriculum through the University of Miami, and that curriculum, it's not. They have so many different curriculums for youth that are really small to young adults to even your staff, um, adolescents, and it hits on so many wide spectrums. Uh, I love that curriculum. That's just what we use as an icebreaker, you know, to start building relationships and start gauging the youth and getting them involved because most of our youth are in foster care. So the trauma that they're going through, sometimes if you can get a smile out of them on the first day, it's amazing. Because I can say some of the things that I see them go through, I'm not sure if I'll be smiling, you know?
Mm. I think Paulette is talking, but we can't hear her. We have a
Or somebody
question.
said, how do I show up on the bad and hard days? Let's say this is a question that I would love to be able to elaborate on, but I really don't have bad or hard days because I love it. If you really love it, it's really no such thing, to be honest. You have some times. I have some bad or hard moments. My wife would probably be the one to thank for that. She has probably the toughest skin, and my wife and my mom, because they listen to all the my venting. But you know, it's a momental thing. It's a moment thing. I wouldn't say it's a day. I have a rough moment here and there. You know, just because you deal with certain people, it's not the youth. You deal with certain people and certain stipulations that you have to follow that really hold you up sometimes for fulfilling the mission. But it's really no hard days or bad days. I absolutely love it. So I take the good with the bad and try to, make the negatives positives. You know.
Right.
Do you find that you bond with specific children as well, Aram?
Uh, and I'm laughing because I would say the specific youth that I,
Sorry.
I would say the specific youth that I bond with would be what society may call bad kids. And if we call them bad kids, I love them. Bring them on. The youth that I've learned to really love are the ones that probably are the most difficult because, working with AMI kids, they would always tell us that you the youth that gets on your nerves the most per se probably needs you the most.
Most,
So I've
yeah.
kind of learned to channel that. Um, so when they're rough, they're the most difficult. I absolutely love working with the biggest challenge per se.
I think my motto's always been kill them with kindness. So when they're being particularly difficult, I just throw more and more kindness at them, more and more love at them, and eventually I break them. They just go, "All right, I give in. I'll take it." And they just need you to believe in them. That's all it really is. And that you're going to stay. That you're not just going to drop and run, which is what they used to. People picking up and dropping and running. And to me, that's the most important thing with your program. You're seeing them through. You're holding their hand and seeing them grow, which is lovely. Amazing.
I appreciate that. I would say so. My buddy Marvin Farrell that passed away that I started this with, he will always say that your will has to be stronger than theirs. So your will to push them through
Yeah.
has to be stronger than their will to them. A lot of times their will is so strong to not succeed because of trauma and things that they've been through. So you have to have way more energy than them. And I've always noticed. So a lot of people that know me probably, they probably would be laughing right now because I'm a high energy person, and really probably I go nonstop. And that's how I get through is having more energy than them. So when I see them down in the dump, I kind of charge up because I know, all kids, they resemble the adults in their lives. So even though our kids, most of the time, they don't have parents because of whatever in their background, I realize that today I'm the parent per se, and I'm the role model. So I have to have that energy that I want them to have,
I'm so
and you
sorry.
and you have to show them how to get there. A
Yeah.
lot of times it's not just having the energy, you have to show them how to get there. So, through those small life skill curriculums and things like that, those little small things that gain uh, confidence, having them the small accomplishments gain confidence. And then hopefully they're ready to start winning, eventually.
Oh, definitely, definitely. And by the sounds of things, once you've got a really good program in place, even if you have to tweak it now and again, it's that the hard copy's done. You know what works. You've got you've got that, haven't you? Which is amazing. It's just wonderful to hear.
Yeah, yeah, and working with kids or any humans, you got to constantly be tweaking. You have to
Yeah.
all the time because everybody's different. Everything's always changing. So you have to always be ready to evolve into what's next and staying in accordance with your mission at the same time.
Children that have been given so many negative beliefs, they just believe, they believe they're rubbish. They've been told they're rubbish for so long. It's so hard to tell them suddenly that they're not. But when you can show them that they're not, that's the magic. That really is when the magic happens. And what you've just said is everything. So, whew, the tears are coming.
Thank you so much for sharing that. Now, tell us what it took. I'm so sorry. We have, they're checking alarms here and they're going off. So please excuse me for that. Um, Tell us what a typical day looks at the center, where the youth comes, and how, you're helping them, and what does a typical day look like? And I
Um,
know there's so many different scenarios, but I know there's a lot of work that you do, and I definitely want you to share a little bit more so that we can all get a little bit more insights there.
so it's a wide variety of things that we do. And I can answer your question. Uh, I think Jane. Um, so and then I'll run it concurrent. How we evolved over the years. When we started this, we were in our cars. We were working in the community. We didn't have a space, so we were working in our cars with the youth, and literally riding around the community, trying to find things for them to do. And inside of that, we kept working and we kept doing it, and we were getting more and more kids and finding more and more things to do. And eventually, we got a small office space, and then I would say maybe a year later, we got a bigger office space, and about 3 months after that, we got another small office space to run our carpentry program out of. So, in based on the particular day, like today, we have our carpentry program that's getting ready to start at 4:30. So, you know, we're going into the summer, so our kids they come in. Lord knows what happened the night before. You never know. It's hard to gauge. Kid could have ran away, and first thing in the morning we're dealing with that. So first thing we want to do is feed them. Sometimes they're very tired because they've been up really early, having to move around with their case manager, or they've been up running the streets late at night. Um, and then we go about our daily activities that we have planned, depending upon the staff may have planned, depending upon the youth. Some youth we have they can't read. So a lot of times after breakfast, we probably start them in with some light tutoring, and trying to help them in some of those deficiencies. Some of our youth have extreme anger issues, so we start working with them in those. Some of our youth have substance abuse issues, so that may be some of the groups that we try to run. And it depends on the youth. Sometimes a youth literally refuses; they don't want to do anything, so we try to find a way to engage with that youth because they can't spend the whole day like that. Then we deal with a wide variety of issues. Sometimes we have kids that just won't eat, and a lot of times I come in and by that time I'm coming through the door and my staff they're able to tell me what's been going on today, and I try to figure out a way that I can help, you know, with whatever deficiencies that they may be having that day. So I come in and sometimes we play good cop bad cop, or sometimes I come in and like the other day one of our youth she didn't want to eat, and I came, hey, you want some chicken wings, and just for her, make it because I knew what the background issue was that she had just lost placement, and she was pretty upset, she was pretty sad, and it wasn't all her fault. We just try to make her happy to get her going. I mean, if they're not happy, you're not going to have any success. So you gotta get them out of that dump to move forward to do anything, run groups or tutor or teach them carpentry or help them find a job. You got to get through all that other turmoil first. So that's pretty much how the day starts. It depends on the kid and the situation, you know.
Now, wow, that's amazing. Just the empowerment that you're giving the youth, meeting them where they're at and not pushing it on them. Um, how long can they stay in the program once they're in? Can they stay in until they're 24, or how does that process work?
So it depends on the program. In our carpentry, they probably could stay about a year. Um, in our mentoring program, that's a little different. That could be a day-to-day basis based upon what happens with their foster care and case management situations. And then sometimes, a lot of times, we see youth they come back because the idea of the case manager is to help them find placement. So if the case management, if they do their job, then they're not going to be with us. And sometimes the youth is hard to place. So really, I would say the more difficult the youth is hard to place, that's how long we have them, and that's what we would consider a homeless youth because they don't have anywhere to live. So that's the ones that we really work with the longest, and we've had youth as long as a year, 2 years, uh, and we work with them to try to get them placed. But sometimes in their files are so thick with a lot of stuff that they may have done when they're young. It's still hard to get them placed, and then the older they are, it's harder to find harder for them to find a placement as well.
Yeah.
Wow,
I think that's the
yes.
same in every country, though. That's worldwide. You have that problem worldwide. I mean, it literally, once a child has become feral, is the term they use, it's very, very hard to, as you say, love them back and love them back to kindness and bring them back to a place where they are happy to be with you and progress, and not be angry and not be disappointed that things didn't work out again, because it's what always happens to them, because they see it as it's all about everyone's against them. It's a difficult place for a child to be, isn't it? I mean, it really is.
Yeah, um, it is very difficult. It's difficult when you don't have family or somebody that you can pick up the phone and call. So we try to be that person. And a lot of times I use the method just like football. You have a bad play, you got to get up and dust yourself off and get back in the game. It's just when they come to us, we get back in the game with them. You know, um, and it's whatever they're dealing with, we're gonna deal with it with them. And because they've been alone for so long. You know, and a lot of times people don't understand that just because you have somebody present with you doesn't mean that you're not alone. Because a lot of times if somebody doesn't understand or they're not willing to understand or meet you where you're at, you're still alone. And that's what they go through a lot of times. So we do the best that we can to meet them where we at, where they're at, to help them not feel alone. And a few of my staff were former foster kids themselves. So they grew up in foster care, so they understand a lot of what they have been through, and some of our volunteers as well. So I try to seek those type of people to come
Yeah.
work for us or come volunteer and things like that, because the easier it is to connect with these kids, the more successful we'll have.
Life experience makes such a difference, doesn't it?
No, definitely, definitely. I wasn't in foster care, but a lot of the at-risk issues, I wouldn't say I did them, but I've seen them. And I've always been one of the people that if you did it and it didn't work, that was good enough for me. So, and I think that kind of blessed me to be able to counsel them sometimes and just be there and be a listening ear. Uh, Even as an adult, I was a hard head. I didn't listen to my mother, so I was at times I was homeless in the streets myself. So I've had to learn that way, the hard way, from not listening. And so, I pass that on to them. I try to encourage them to listen to adults and build those relationships so that they don't have to go through some of the things that I went through, or things don't get worse.
Mhm.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm sure Martha agrees with me when I say this, but thank goodness for what you're doing, because we need to replicate what you're doing in every single city across the whole of America, then across the whole of the world, because we really do have this world pandemic of homelessness that involves children as well as adults. There are many kids who are on the street that get rounded up every single night, taken to hostels because they are seen as vulnerable. They get taken to hostels and they run away and they're back again. And this is this sort of a cycle of nobody cares, nobody seems to be able to get through. And what you're doing is not only just meeting them where they're at, but meeting them in a place where they want to come back and talk to you as their parent figure, which I think is speaks volumes, Aram. It's fantastic what you're doing. Absolutely amazing. Amazing.
I appreciate that. And that's the big goal is to eventually one day become a national program, or if not an international program. And I don't know if we can ever prevent homelessness, but I know if we can teach our kids, our youth something, that I know that prevents it can prevent them from being homeless adults or adult incarceration. Because right now, being a homeless youth or a youth in foster care, it almost seems that it's a direct pipeline to incarceration. And we all know what goes on with that. And a lot of these youth that we have in foster care, they don't, be, due to the lack of parents, they really don't understand what's out there in the world. Um, so their seriousness is not really high, but they're these kids are survivors. Their resiliency is so high, but their understanding isn't very high because they haven't had consistent guidance, in life. So it's very hard and they're very vulnerable, and everybody wants something good. So they're enticed by words and things like that. So that's the things that we try to teach them, to kind of look out for, and we kind of just role model everything that we can, and we encourage other people to come in and become volunteers and role model as well, and even share some of their professions, their careers, um, because every youth doesn't want to do carpentry or construction or things like that. So we want people from the medical field, um, mental health people, all that, and we get a lot more girls than boys. So we also need tons of strong women to come in that who doing well in life to be examples for these young women because they need it.
I think that's the whole point of this pipeline, as you said. There's a huge number. I think it's something like 1 in 3 children from foster care will end up in either in youth detention or in prison,
That's a
incarcerated,
lot.
and that's a huge number.
That's a lot.
Yeah, yeah, and that's horrible. I was looking at a statistic. I can't quite remember it, but a convicted felon coming out of prison has a higher success rate than a youth in foster care. And that was the pretty much the sum of
Yeah,
it.
I've seen that. Yeah,
Yeah,
I've seen that. Mm.
and that's our goal. Our mission is to really change that.
So, wow.
Hang on, I just need.
Let's breathe. Let's have a brief.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
It's so in like how desperately we need your organization in every city for our youth. It is. I have another question for you. How how do these clients connect with you? How do they find you? Um, like, is it referral? Is there a partnership? Like, how are you getting them when they're already in a home, or are they in the system? Like, how does that process work?
So our local case management offices like Lutheran Services, Camelot, they make a um, they make a referral to our lead provider which is Children's Network, and Children's Network approves, and then they come to us. So they're identified by their case managers. Their case managers know what's going on because if they're at a placement, the caregiver notifies them and keeps them up to date. Um, we would love to try to get these youth before they lose their placement, to try to work with them before they they lose their placement, to prevent them from being homeless or in this situation. And that, I think that's one of our other big goals as well, you know, is to work with them before losing placement and provide our mentoring to them then, because I think that would be more helpful, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Prevention programs.
Yeah, absolutely.
Keeping
Yes.
them off the street, that's the key, isn't it? Keeping them
Yep,
out of danger
yep.
and off the street.
Yeah, the environment is everything. And sometimes it the placement isn't a good placement, and that's how it goes too. That's just life, you know. We could move in a neighborhood that we don't like either, you know. So, and my heart goes out to the case managers because their job is really, really hard because they're like a single parent with 80 or 90 kids. And how do they do anything perfect when
Mm-hmm.
it's a 1 to 80 ratio, you know? Um, and you have a whole circuit that you have to cover, which is like 5 or 6 different counties, maybe 12 to 13 different cities. So that's and probably more cities than that. So my heart really goes out to them and the whole system in general, you know, and that's why, you know, we just chomp at the bit and do what we do, you know, and you know, each one teach one. You know, my thing is if I can help 5 or 6 kids, hopefully they can that was 5 or 6 can help 12, you know.
How about funding, Aram? How do you find getting funding?
We have a contract through our lead provider, and you know, donations, you know, private donations, and we have a grant, and we're working on more grants. So I mean, that's where it is. You know, it's tough. You know, this nonprofit world, you gotta hustle and you gotta be business savvy to really fulfill your mission. You know, and it's, you know, to help these kids, it's almost never enough money, but you just do what you can and keep your head up. You know, and you know, hopefully, you know, people, they see us doing the work, and they come in and they want to donate and help us assist and reach further goals that we want to, you know, out in our area, you know.
Okay, you ready for this next question?
Yep, yep.
It's a big one.
Okay.
Who inspired you
Now what perspective? Because you got
in
specific
life?
with me last
In
time.
life.
In
So,
life,
what, yeah, in life, growing up to where you're at today, serving, and I know you're serving not just Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, you're serving, um, you're working every day.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So I would say my mother. In that question, my mother had me when she was 15, and my mom, she was pretty much always stayed a straight A student, either even when she had me, um, and she just never quit, you know. And that was always never quit. So quitting was never an option. You know, I used to try to quit all the time when I was a kid, and she would say, "Well, what if I quit? What happens to you? What happens to us?" And my mom always worked 2, sometimes 3 jobs, since I could remember. Now she doesn't, and I'm glad about that. But so with her having that type of spirit, you know, and that type of work ethic, I quitting was an option. It wasn't an option. So I think with her being like that, that's always been my inspiration. Because go back to that question, what I do on hard days and bad days. I mean, that's my biggest inspiration wasn't a quitter. She was always pushing. She's always been pushing through. So I think that's what gets me through everything. That quitting isn't an option, you know. And then if I quit, what about the kids? You know, so they're an inspiration too, you know, because seeing what they go through, and they wake up every day and they show up. And my grandmother used to always tell me about going to church. If you show up, you're gonna get something. So if they show up, they're gonna get something, which lets me know that they want something positive because they're showing up. They have the option. They don't have to come. You know, they can refuse. So the fact that they didn't refuse and they show up lets me know that we have a chance. So I mean, you have to be inspired because think about it. Through all that they go through, I probably would be a quitter going through that, you know, and they wake up and they just keep getting up and they keep going. So it's like such a hard question, you know, because uh, just watching other people not quit, that's just my inspiration to keep going, you know, because they keep going, you know.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I hear the passion in you. What is
Uh,
your background? Can you touch a little bit on that also, a little bit on your background?
and what perspective? What perspective?
Before you started Project Build,
Oh, I work with
all
AMI
the knowledge,
kids.
all the knowledge you gained and how that knowledge came here and
Yeah, yeah. I work with a nonprofit organization called AMI Kids. Before that, I think I worked with them maybe about 12 years. Uh, 12 years, and I learned so much from them. In that organization, you wear so many different hats. So what I learned probably specifically from them is that nobody has one job. So you have a title, but there's no real title, especially working with kids. You know, you do everything, and that's kind of how I navigate through staff and volunteers. Working with kids, you got to be able to do everything, man. You got to be cook for them. You got to teach them how to wash clothes. You got to teach them how to read. You got to be able to do math. You got to teach them how to take care of themselves. You got to be able to listen to them when they're down. Um, and that all of that is what I would say I learned from my mother, and I learned from my family in general. And then working with AMI on a professional level, I learned from them. You know, um, so that you know, and then
yeah.
and in that organization, you got a whole bunch of people who probably will run circles around me. It's some real talented people that I learned from over there as well. So you know, big kudos
So
to them.
Mama
I believe
inspired.
it's is it Mother's Day in America today?
No, 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 Sunday.
Sunday. Well, I just want to say to you, your mum must be so darn proud of you. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I know I'm not your mum, but I am, and you know, I'm a bit of a mama bear to everybody, and you know, honestly, kudos to you. It's amazing what you're doing. Amazing.
Thank you, thank you.
Yes, definitely. The children, mom, and oh my goodness, and the impact that you're touching every day. And these children and young adults are going to grow up and they're going to remember you forever because of what you're doing in their lives.
Yeah.
Um,
And what I like is that you don't need to be a parent to impact children. That's the magic. You can bring the sparkle in their eyes, even if you are not their parents.
Yeah, yeah, big time. And I talk to all these, most of our kids. I talk to them every day, every other day. That's probably the majority of my phone calls are the kids, and man, I just pick up for them. You know, you never know what they're going through. So the scary part is when you can't answer the phone. You know.
yeah. So when is your time like away
Uh, I don't
from your
know.
passion? Because this is like
uh, like I said, I try to incorporate my family and everything because it's running an organization. I would say you have to have your family involved because it's really no time away, and that's why you make these kids. That's why you make them family. And I always try to keep a family environment, because everything is family. So it's really hard, because when they need you, and when your family needs you, they need you. That so, I don't know. uh,
Well, we have some comments. So Danya,
no, my mom.
oh, I'm very proud of my
Mm,
son. Oh, well, we're
that's
so
so
glad you're here
cute.
with us.
Yeah.
Thank you, mom. And you know what? And I'm proud of my mom as well. 'Cause my mom is she's been through a lot, taking care of me. It was always a struggle, and she's always an example to me every day. She still works hard, and she's accelerated through her career. So I'm very proud of you too, mom.
Mm.
Yeah, I know it wasn't mentioned here today, but we've had this conversation. But you also mentioned before to me that your mom has done amazing work with the community as well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. My mom, and my aunt, everybody, my family, they would go downtown in Atlanta and feed the homeless and things like that. I remember being a little kid, even down to when we didn't have much. My mom would be, we'd be putting together peanut butter and jellies to go pass out and things like that. And I was like, man, how many of these we gonna make? Uh, Yep, yep, yep. So I come from that background, that my grandmother was one of the founders of the Harriet Tubman Coalition. I think I said that right, in Maryland. Her and my great grandfather, um, the late Woodrow Pender, they did a lot of community work in the community in Maryland as well. So I just grew up seeing it. So it kind of comes natural. So I think that may answer some of you guys' questions too. When you're young and you kind of see it and you've been growing up in it, the need and want to help uh, is there, and I think that's the biggest thing for me. I want to do it. So sometimes when you're clocking in and you're doing this to survive financially, I think that's when it becomes a struggle. But I want to do this, and it's a blessing to get to do it every day. So I don't take it for granted at all. So I think that's
Yeah.
probably why I'm willing to. It probably looks like I'm working hard to some people, but it does. It's not hard to me. It's actually I'm fulfilling my dream.
I hear it in your voice. Go ahead,
Yeah,
Paulette.
I was going to say the passion is just phenomenal. And I think having seen that as a representation of your family is just so wonderful, because to have seen, okay, you might not have liked making the sandwiches, but you know what, when you gave them out, you saw the smile, you saw the thank you, and that stayed with you, and that's what's made you the person you are. And I think that everything that all of the positives that surround you, doesn't matter how much of a rebel you might have tried to be, you're always going to come back to the good side because you had so much good in you. So,
Definitely, definitely,
I 100% believe that, and I believe that everybody finds their calling. If you've got a calling, everybody finds it eventually. And I think what you're doing now, you're exactly where you're meant to be. And it's an honor just to know you, and I know we're going to do some good stuff together.
Mm-hmm.
absolutely. I
Mm-hmm.
agree. I tell you this real quick. It was I can't remember. It was winter time one year, and my mom did all these hygiene bags, and I really did not want to go uh, pass them out. And I get down there, and my stepdad he starts laughing because it's like it was a natural thing. And I'm very competitive. So you get we were giving hygiene bags to the homeless, and some of the guys were being like modest or real bad attitudes, like they didn't want it, and other people would lighten up to come and get the bags. And I was getting off, like I was happy. I was able to give them, and seeing all these people smile, regardless of what they're going through. But the guys that were trying to be so mean, when they start prying off and they coming, and I'm like, I got you, and I really into it then. And to make people happy, and to make some of these guys are so angry, um, kind of come out of that shell. That was amazing. So that was some of the stuff, how my mom put me in positions, to be uncomfortable, but still experience happiness through helping other people and making them happy.
Yeah. Now, how did you break the ice? Because I've tried with two separate people and they kindly declined. So how do you break the ice? Like, how do you?
Well, I would say in that situation, it was a big population. It was a lot of people. So seeing other people happy, how long can you stay with the poop face, because everybody else is happy because they're coming to get their stuff, and everybody else is happy, and then you hear some of the older guys like, hey man, y'all better get some of this stuff, and and they're sitting there, they're trying to hold it, and I think we might have gave out 100 bags, and I think one guy stayed tough, I think that was it. And I'm pretty sure he probably used somebody else's stuff or got something, because he was holding, you could see it, but he wanted to just come and be a part of something good, but you know how it is, and I get it, it's a pride factor there, and then inside of having conversations with people, it's only so long you can hold negative energy to positive energy, it doesn't, it's just eventually it starts sliding down. It's like heat and ice.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I definitely have my contact person for the youth. Um, for the
Oh
youth
yeah, and
when
I
it
got to
comes.
connect you with my mom too. I meant to do that, so I'll do
Yes.
that.
So we do have a comment. Um, we do have a comment from Sama, and Sama actually helped us recently with Connect Impact Hub resource. She located shelters for us. So thank you, Sama, for being here with us. Sama says we don't need to be like Aram. We need to be like Aram. Woohoo! Yes, that is so right. And she's tuning in from India.
Nice, nice.
Yep.
And I
So
appreciate that.
yep. So we got a really beautiful community here. Paulette, I think you were going to say something and I just jumped in. Please excuse me for that.
No, not at all. All I was going to say is, do you actually get involved at all with the foster families, or is it really only the caseworkers?
So I have in the perspective of when some of the youth go to the placements, they get placed. They have their foster parents. They have my information. One of our board members, Melissa Henderson, she adopted one of our youth, so she always keeps me involved with their son, and I'm always here. Wherever they're at. If they're local, if they're within 100 miles and they have an issue, I'm coming. Sometimes I wake up and I got, hey, can you take me to work? Well, heck yes, I want to take you to work. I love those calls and texts. You know what I'm saying? So, because it could be the alternative. So, I'm
Yeah.
definitely gonna take the opportunity to drive one of them to work, or one of them back to home or to school, or any of that stuff. So, when the foster families, if they call, I'm telling you, it's not all about money. So if they call, I come. Or if they need me to get on the phone, whatever it is, we get there. And our lead mentor, Mr. Errol, he probably hate me mentioning him because he doesn't want credit for anything. But I mean, this guy's like a utility knife, man. He does everything and anything. He does it. You know, literally from cooking for him to transporting them. He's probably picking up our kids right now, taking them to carpentry class, to counseling. He has, outside of him and my grandfather, I don't know people who have the patience that they have. I've never seen it. I'm more like a coach, so I kind of coach him in with a little aggression sometimes, because I want to fuel them. I want them to have some little fuel. But these guys they're so patient. Um, it's amazing.
I feel like you're really patient too.
Yeah, I would say so as well. I think you
Uh,
underestimate. I mean, you might have to be the coach,
His
but
yeah,
I
voice.
yeah.
think you
I
also can be the
probably
dad, you know?
you know, when it comes to the kids and them being successful, I put my own personal issues to the side. So yeah, I have developed a newfound patience that I didn't even know I had, and I talk about it so much because I'm like, wow, I can't believe I got through that. Because you just it's not about me, and I always try to keep that in the front of my head that it's not about me, it's about the kids. So my personal feelings and beliefs all kind of go out the window when it comes to the kids, because kids are kids.
And I also want to say you're part of Connect and Packed Up too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
We're all
yeah,
we're all connected. You
yep,
have been
yep.
such a helpful person to me on this
And
journey of nonprofit.
and I want to
Um,
tell you, I want to tell you that I'm thankful for that opportunity, because being able to help connect impact and connect you and everything, that makes me better, you know. So it's just not one way. So I want you to understand that it's not me just doing something for you. Is you're pouring into me as well, because you forced me to brush up on my skills.
oh, well, I'm just so thankful, right, Paulette? I mean, like this is a journey we're all on, and it's just a
It's just
blessing.
wonderful to have that common love for mankind, and I think that's really what we're talking about. It's the people that can't turn their head away, the person who can't walk away from a problem, and that's where we're all at. We just can't walk away. And yeah, we've got to earn a living out of it. And yes, there's got to be enough money in the kitty to pay Martha's bills, and you've got to be able to pay your bills. And it's a charity, but that it's still got to make get enough money through grants and through whatever to make sustainability. If we're going to be around for a long, long time, and I hope we are, this is what we need to get. That's the very next stage, is to get the grants started to come in and start contacting the big companies and asking for their support and getting on the local news and the television and
Mhm.
really getting our nose out there, because people need to know that there are people trying to help, but people are very quick to judge and very quick to pass comment and very quick to say, not in my backyard, I don't like it, I don't want it, I don't like this, I don't like that, I'll vote to get rid of the tents and the this and the that. But then you
Mhm.
have to have an alternative, right? So let's work together to come up with a solution, not just let's all get together and complain about the problem. So for
Mhm.
me, I really see Martha's, her philosophy of, let's try and get the money in, let's try and get some proper grants in the bank, and then you can give up your job, and then you can focus 24/7 on what you want to do, with Sundays off, hopefully, and you move forward. That's got to be the way forward, doesn't it, Aaron? It's the only way.
No, absolutely, absolutely. And I'm one of those people. I'm trying to get better at that, because I just like to do the work. And but
Mhm.
the
We have that
marketing
in
and
common.
yeah, the marketing and things like that, it's a must, because people have to know what you're doing. And I hate asking people for anything, but when it comes to these kids,
Give me a
it,
call, I'll do it for you.
Okay. And I appreciate that. But you know, when it comes to the kids and to the mission and just homeless prevention in the whole,
Mm-hmm.
that pulls me out of my shell of doing that because you know I had a little girl ask me, how do you talk to so many people every day? When I'm saying, well, I care about more about you than I would say maybe my phobia or fear of talking to people all the time. You know, I care more about you than that. So
That's
that's just
lovely.
how I stay focused with it. You know.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, that touched my heart. I had a call today with a gentleman um, who is helpless, and I told him when to send me, and I said, "We're gonna get through this together." And he paused. He paused. Mind you, he's actually from the UK, Paulette. So we'll have to connect. Um, so we're all. It doesn't matter where we're located. We're all. There's one of somebody here that's listening, or I don't know, watching. Maybe you'll share it to someone that may be going through difficulties. Don't be afraid to ask for help. You can reach out to me. I'll be happy to serve, and as I'll find resources. Um, there's always an answer to our problem. So there's always a solution to a problem.
Solution to a problem, definitely.
So with that, I know we're running short on time. So any last shares?
I'm just so grateful to be in the presence of Aram, and I'm going to learn a lot from you. And I'm definitely going to get those books over to you, and
Definitely.
you can give them to certainly the 6 to 12-year-olds will really love them, and well, maybe even the older kids who are struggling with their reading, because they're not, it's not difficult language, but it's still mature language, so they'll still get something from it. It's about emotional intelligence, which again they'll get something from. So the books I'll get to you. Any phone calls, anybody that you think I could attack or have a go at for you, you just give me the number. I'll go on the warpath, and that's what we need to do for Connect Impact Hub. We need to start looking at the grants and that kind of thing and have a meeting and move forward, because we need to get Martha full time working at the charity so she can do even better work than she already is, which is amazing what she's doing part time somehow. So it's amazing, really, that we've got a great plan, but we just need
Yes.
to have time.
Yeah, we need to clone Marsha.
Absolutely.
And Aram. And Paulette and Ali. Well, I hope everyone is feeling the energy here. And Aram, how can people get in contact with you before we exit? Please let us know how they can
You,
reach you.
you can reach me at Aram ARAM at Project Build SWFL.org. My email. You can reach me
We
there
can put it underneath or something, Martha.
or my LinkedIn. You
Uh,
can by my name, Aram Wheatley.
yeah, I don't have. We'll put it in the comments as well on LinkedIn. So he is here on LinkedIn
Okay.
as well. Thank you so
Okay.
much. Ali, any last shares before I?
Well, today was like a bit more amazing conversation, and in the audience also great support. We were 4 to 9, so probably it's because it's Wednesday. Wednesday is the favorite day of kids. That's why the parents or other people are probably less online. But thank you again for the team replay for watching, and feel free to share. And I'm really happy of what you are doing, Aram. Thank you so much.
Yes, I
Thank,
appreciate that.
thank you so much. So with that, Aaron, thank you so much for being here with us, and to our listeners, please go over to our gift butter and donate to our Connect Impact Hub. Spread the word. We're here, available, ready to go, but we need your help. So please help us with our initiatives as we continue to move forward. Thank you so much. And Jane has posted your details right here for Aram. So please connect with him. He's working with the youth, making huge difference in their lives, and we need your help as well with his projects. So please connect. Thank you, everybody. Have a beautiful Wednesday, and we'll see you all soon. Bye.
All right. Have a good one.
Bye.